Sorry, I needed to drink water.
Thanks for the announcement.
Well, you guys went quiet. It's not like we weren't gonna cut this part out anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, it's fair.
Hey, it's the Intersectional Podcast, Episode 1. I'm your host, Fahim Kamal.
I'm your other host, Brandon Winchell.
I'm your other host, Lily Remington.
And I'm your final host, Karina Provost.
Yeah, so this is the first episode of our podcast. It's a group of 4 people. And so to begin, I guess we'll just introduce ourselves. Like I said, my name is Fahim Kamal. Currently, I'm a 17-year-old senior now. I have a love for cars. I love everything cars. Cars is just really cool to me. Currently, I'm trying to get better at my GFX ability, my graphics ability, and I also love architecture.
I guess I'll go next. So, my name is Brandon Winchell. Likewise, I am 17 and a senior. I like a lot of things, so it's kind of hard for me to just like list stuff like that. But a couple things: music production, chess. There's so many things I could say. So I guess I'll just like let everyone else go.
I'll go next. So, like I said, my name is Lily Remington, and I am also a 17-year-old senior in high school. I guess if I could narrow it down, I like to paint or draw. I like playing the cello, and I really like baking.
Well, I guess that just leaves me. I am the youngest of the bunch. I am a 16-year-old senior, but I'll be 17 next month, unfortunately for me. I think I personally am like almost exclusively dedicated to academics. I don't have much of a life outside of it. So I do speech and debate. I'm currently working on writing my own novel. And in order to de-stress, I play video games, and I really like PC gaming.
So, as a group, we're 4 kids. We're all in the IB program. We are, like Karina said, she said she's mostly focused on academics. I feel like that's a lot of us, though. Like, we just didn't include that. But we're all very, like, academically focused, and we put a lot of stress on ourselves for schooling and all that. But anyway, this group, we decided to get together and make a podcast because we love talking about, like, random stuff, school stuff, just anything.
And long story short, we thought the conversations that we were having at the end of our math class were funny enough to put on the internet.
Yeah, so like talking about math class, I think that's kind of funny for the podcast because like the whole idea of this podcast came out of our math class. We're all just like, I don't know, we were in different parts of the room. It was just me and Brandon, right? But we were just thinking, just like, what's something cool we could do? What's something creative? What's something that we can like, talk about what we think? And we decided like the best form that we could do and produce would be a podcast. So yeah, here we are.
Mm-hmm. Me and Fahim have a lot of projects. Some of them we did not continue after a week of thinking about them. But
Like
this is
our
one that
baking project?
yeah, like baking, like all, like we had a bunch, and then we finally settled on the podcast, and we decided it was something we actually wanted to like materialize. And this is it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I personally remember like hearing you guys say that and turning around because I think out of the four, like out of me and Lily, I think I sat closer to you guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were like a few feet.
I can't remember what started the conversation, but I remember constantly turning around and just looking at the two of you because you were always talking about something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially between the whole bakery idea and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We started singing out of nowhere. There was a lot that went on in math class. Is all we could say. But yeah, it just, I think I don't know exactly how we came up with the idea. I think I might have said it just out of nowhere because I was just thinking about a lot of stuff, and I think that's where a lot of this comes from. We just think a lot, and we like talking about like random stuff. So this gives us a platform to do that, and it's fun. So like, best of both worlds.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I guess like we can move on to is what you as a listener can expect from our podcast. And so like it was previously mentioned, we are pretty academically focused, but that's not all what this podcast will be about. Sure, there'll be some episodes talking about, tips to survive and thrive in high school, right? But we'll also talk about random topics like, would we go to live on a planet if we could?
Mm-hmm. A bunch of random stuff. Whatever we
we
think about.
yeah, we have a tendency to, and I honestly think it's because we're friends before we are like
Mm-hmm.
podcast record people.
Yeah.
But we have a tendency to bounce from topic to topic to topic when
Yeah.
talking. And but yeah, so there should be an even balance of both some of those like random kind of fun to listen to topics if you're just like driving and need some background noise or like studying or something. Um, and then there should be plenty of things to help like incoming or current high school students just kind of survive probably more so their last 2 years of high school rather than
Yeah.
freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
Sorry, freshman.
I mean, the more
Yeah.
intensive half.
Yeah, and because we're all like IB students, we'll have like probably a few more like IB focused episodes, but just because they're labeled like IB or something doesn't mean that the tips are exclusively for IB students.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, like just because someone is an IB student doesn't mean like you can't use those tips. So
There's a lot of cross applicability. Cross
Applicability.
I guess
Anyway,
someone should explain what IB is.
Oh,
We're talking
yeah.
about it like that.
I forgot about that. So for those of you who don't know, IB stands for International Baccalaureate, and it's basically a high school education program where we take really hard classes and get a different diploma, but on top of
mm-hmm.
like the regular diploma. Um, but if any of you have ever taken AP courses or are familiar with the Advanced Placement Program, IB has kind of a similar functionality to that in the sense that it is, unlike AP, it's an international organization, um, but it focuses on teaching through like 8 specific stimuli that involve creating like students who are like global learners and risk takers and open-minded and people who are caring and expressive and learning through all of those different kind of like techniques that help you build a better international background and help you build a better social profile.
yeah, and something that I particularly like about IB is like it's not just about rote memorization of certain topics. Like you have to be able to apply your knowledge in assignments such as like the IA. So that's also where I think it differs from AP because I feel like AP often it's just like memorize this vocabulary, spit it out on the test,
Mm-hmm.
but with having to actually like apply the knowledge to like your own research question or your own project, I feel like it's like much more interesting to learn and you'll remember it for much longer and actually like absorb the knowledge.
Yeah, it really builds up critical thinking skills. So that's one thing I like about it. I think we should go into maybe how or like why we decided to join the program individually.
Hmm.
So Fahim, I don't know if you want to start.
Yeah, so the reason why I joined IB was probably because my brother was in the program at first. And I think that's how a lot of people get into the program. Having siblings in the program means that, you're more aware of the effect the program has on an individual and are more likely to join as a result.
Mm-hmm. I'll go next because I feel like my situation is very similar. Just following in my brother's footsteps, I felt like I was sort of expected to, but also not that I wasn't going to in the first place. But it was something that he did, and I know he loved it, and it was something that's prestigious, and I wanted to be the same, like similar to him in terms of like academic like performance because I feel like that we're just similar in things like that. So I followed in his footsteps, and I know he made great friends from it, and it was a great experience for him. So I just decided I should join, and I did have some hesitation. going into junior year, which is when it starts at our school, I had some hesitation, and I was like, I don't know if I should do it, but I decided to do it, and it was the right decision.
Yeah, so actually, unlike Brandon and Fahim, my my older sibling did not participate in the IB. Um, and actually, when I was going into high school, even though I've been pretty like academically driven my whole life, when I was going into high school, I had just heard so many stories from like upperclassmen or even just like freshmen and sophomores saying like, don't take AP classes, don't take IB classes, you're gonna be so stressed, it's gonna ruin your life. And so I was like, ain't no way I'm doing that. But um, then freshman year, like on my schedule, I was just like put in AP Human Geography, and I was like, all right then. And then like I figured out that AP classes were not as bad as everyone was making them out to be, and then just like immediately, I started to like fall in love more with learning. Like, cause I was always a good student, but I wouldn't say I always loved learning. But then I just like really just like fell in love with learning and gaining knowledge. So I heard that like our school had a IB program, especially through like the clubs that I was in. I had a lot of IB friends. And so I was just like, you know what, why not? I'll give it a try. But I kind of went in somewhat hesitant because I knew that it would be like much more stressful than just taking like the honors or AP route. But honestly, I don't regret it at all.
My case is honestly different from all of yours. um, I think I joined for two reasons. So I mean, I think it's not like my first reason for doing it, but I didn't want to go to my zone school. So like my zone high school in our district
Mm,
had like a history of drug problems, and a lot of people from my last year of middle school were going there, and I didn't want to follow that energy.
mhm,
I really didn't. Um, and so I was looking for like kind of outlets through magnet programs, so things that would let me get a zone variance and switch schools, viably. Um,
mhm,
and I was actually in the district for like a school on the complete like other side of town. Um, for their IB program. And so obviously I had to apply to that one, and they had to let me in. Um but then like I was also looking at magnet programs. Like I almost ended up like second on my list was a tech for law, and I almost got in there. So I almost ended up doing
really.
that.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
it's like I guess the main reason why I wanted to do IB is because the people from IB had come to talk to my middle school, and I had a really long conversation with their counselor at that school, and I was like, yeah, this seems like the right academic plan for me, and I really like how this style of teaching sounds, and I really like how this program sounds, because IB is supposed to be a 4-year program. Like you're supposed to spend
Mhm.
all 4 years of high school in IB, and you're supposed to take all of their like actual IB classes for testing for 2 years. Um, our school does things a little differently. So when I switched, I've technically been in IB for a year longer than the rest of them because I did the MYP, which is the middle years program, which is the precursor to the diploma program, which is what we're all doing right now. Um, so I took a year of freshman IB courses, and then when I had to switch schools because of transportation and stuff at home, uh, I was out of the IB program for a year, which was good because it gave me time to adjust to our school as a school and get to know people before being thrown back into like the academic rigor that I was used to. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so honestly, rather, I mean, I guess selfishly in my case, I was like bored in school, and I was like, what is the hardest path that I can possibly take to push myself and distract myself from literally anything else going on in my life. And that's how I ended up in IB.
That's that's one way to do it. So, moving forward, for like our episode schedule for the odd numbered episodes, we were thinking of doing more school related topics. This is an odd numbered episode, but it's more of just like an introduction. And then the even number episodes, like we were mentioning earlier, would be more of our like fun, like ideas that are like more like fantastical, just like not necessarily super like relevant to school or like anything like too serious. Um,
It
we
could
hope to
literally be
achieve,
about anything, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like
like
what's happening in social media, what's new trends, just
yeah.
whatever in popular culture, I guess.
I guess I misspoke. Not necessarily not serious topics, but just more like less academically focused, more like things
Mhm.
that we feel would be interesting to more audiences.
Yeah, and then, those episodes kind of give us a chance to like banter as high schoolers. I think in a lot of them it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like our take on the world scenarios. Um,
Yeah.
and then we definitely plan on doing special episodes and stuff where it might be just two out of the four of us to do, interesting takes on things.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping to achieve some sort of purpose within ourselves and within the audience. We obviously want to do this to like grow as people, expand what we think about, like how we think about the world, think about things in different ways by talking about it. Just like through these conversations, hopefully like getting a broader understanding of like the world. And for the audience, we hope we're helping you with the, especially the school related ones, helping you maybe like learn some things about how you should go through high school based on what we've done, to learn to do things like learn to do things not like we've done in cases where like we've done something and it led to consequences. And then the fun related episodes, obviously those are more like entertainment based, but there's also some things that we like hope you could like take from those episodes in terms of like just thinking about stuff differently, maybe some advice we have to say even if it's not completely related to the topic. That's I just hope we could do that for you.
Thank you all so much for listening to that brief introduction to the Intersectional podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at that same handle. If feel free to check out our website or email us if you have any questions. Intersectionalpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you all so much. Hope you come back.
Thank you.